Well, young Americans should care about the debt because it's your future. It's your debt. It's what you will inherit if it's not dealt with today. As you come out of college, as you come out of high school in many cases and into the workforce, you begin to assume some of the responsibility of that debt. It impacts the wages that you will earn. It impacts the ability for you and your family, your future family, to spend and save. So you have a vested interest in paying attention to exactly what the numbers are and how they impact you. So don't take it lightly, and don't think that this generation or some other generation is going to get it fixed. You have a hand and an opportunity right now to make the changes that are going to be necessary to secure your future so that you're not stuck paying someone else's bills.
And how should the Republican Party go forward as far as addressing the deficit that we have?
I think the best way to go forward is to be honest and recognize where we have slipped off the principled path in the past by spending dollars that we didn't have, creating debt that is a burden on taxpayers and certainly future generations. So that's number one. Number two, commit ourselves to not doing it again. Responsible fiscal disciplined leadership that calls it as it is. In other words, we can't afford it, we don't pay for it. We can't afford it, we don't spend on it. And number three, I think it's a matter of putting in place the kind of infrastructure internally to government that will force government to change its behavior, so that if you have a debt limit, then you don't change that. You don't get to go and have a vote to move it up. If you're going to have a program in place where you say you can only spend as long as there's an equal cut somewhere, PAYGO or whatever, then honor those principles, those fiscal principles, if you really believe in them. So there are tools there that Republicans can argue for and can I think use to enhance the principled argument about fiscal discipline, conservative fiscal discipline, that if we go back to them and apply them, will work.
And how can Republicans work with Democrats? Of course, you were hoping that Republicans take over the Congress this year, but in the meantime, and in the event that doesn't happen, how can they work together to actually get this done? Do you support the fiscal commission?
Well, I think, for example, what Paul Ryan has put out there as part of a budget plan is exactly the kind of strategies that we need. It's broad-based. It follows the numbers. It accounts for itself. In other words, it doesn't spend money we don't have. It looks to cut where we can afford to cut, and a host of other things that are going to be important. And I think that for the future, we need more strategies like that to be talked about, laid out very clearly, very plainly. In the future, I don't mean 4 years from now. I mean like in the next 3 or 4 months, very clearly defining the agenda of the Republican Party, the legislative agenda from the Hill. Our governors are already doing things on the ground. We've got great examples of fiscal responsibility in our governors in Indiana, in Louisiana, in Mississippi, where our Republican governors are doing a good job. Bring those pieces together and lay out that fiscal vision for the American people, and watch what happens.
And one last thing is, do those cuts include also entitlement programs?
Yes, absolutely. Everything has to be on the table. We've allowed entitlement programs to go beyond their capacity to provide the services that people require, because now you're out of line. The cost of adding one more person, the cost of getting through one more program is so great that the burden, it's again getting back to the first question, is beginning to rest on the shoulders of your generation, and that's something we need to address right now.